Get pause YouTube, how's it going, everybody? So, as you can see, this is not Showdown. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you may know that recently I've been taking Wi-Fi battles actually on there. So, what I want to try to do is at least upload a Wi-Fi battle every 2 to 3 days or so I can kind of get those back on the channel by the time Oros rolls around. So, of course, if you guys do enjoy the Wi-Fi battle, then by all means, make sure to hit the like button, guys. The support is greatly appreciated, and it does help the video get out to people who may not know about my channel. Not to mention that Wi-Fi battles obviously do take more time than Showdown, so the support, as I said, is really appreciated. So thank you if you do enjoy the video and hit the like button and stuff, and just yeah. Anyways, this battle was against Zeke. This is my first Wi-Fi battle in a while, actually. I think like maybe 2 or 3 weeks if you don't count Lumio Station, then months. But I'll leave his Twitter link down in the description, and this was actually a very close battle. Definitely a lot of fun. My team was based around a Dugtrio and Choice Banner Haxorus with mixed Hydreigon, and then Tailwind Whimsicott. And looking at, I'm gonna say Zeki? I'm just gonna call you Zeke. I'm sorry if that's not your name. But looking at his team, Ferroseed is actually gonna be a problem, seeing as the only move on my team to hit it with is Superpower from my Hydreigon, so I gotta watch out for that. His Jirachi could actually be a big issue if I lose my Jirachi, so that's another thing I have to watch out for. And just, yeah, mainly I was gonna watch out for those two. Also, Sableye could be very annoying just because it does have Prankster and Will-O-Wisp. So I lead off with my Hydreigon as he ends up leading off with a Blastoise. Unfortunately, I completely overlooked the fact that nothing on my team switches into any of Mega Blastoise's coverage moves. So I decided to stay in and just go straight for a mild, I think, nature Draco Meteor. And I was hoping this would be strong enough to knock him out. Unfortunately, though, Mega Blastoise is really bulky, even if you don't invest into its special defense, and he's going to be able to just barely live and go for the Dragon Pulse. I was so close to switching into my Whimsicott, thinking, okay, he's going to go for the Aura Sphere, Whimsicott can take it, but then I was like, well, some Blastoise do tend to carry Ice Beam. Unfortunately, he pulls out the Dragon Pulse of all moves, but I can now bring in my Dugtrio and trap this Blastoise and not have to worry about it anymore, as I'm able to easily knock him out with the Earthquake. He is not going to be able to get a free switch into his Sableye. I thought it was going to be Jirachi, sorry about that. As he brings the Sableye, obviously I don't want to take a Will-O-Wisp, and I do still have use for my Dugtrio later in this match, so predicting him to go for the Will-O-Wisp. The only thing on my team that even remotely wants to take the Will-O-Wisp is my Whimsicott, considering that I am a special attacker. So I'm not really too worried about this thing, although my only two offensive moves are Energy Ball and Moonblast, and he does have Jirachi and he does have Ferroseed. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually double switching into my Jirachi, predicting him to bring in his Ferroseed, thinking that this would be a perfect chance for him to start getting up his Stealth Rocks, and hoping and praying that not only would he not switch out and praying that he wouldn't switch out or go full Protect. I go for the trick, as I'm able to trick him the Scarf. I am now not as worried about this Ferroseed as I should be. Unfortunately, though, he does end up paralyzing my Jirachi, which does kind of come into play later in the match, but in the end, it's not really game changing in the slightest. As I go for the U-turn, I do a solid amount of damage to this Sableye, which was really surprising to me, so I'm thinking this is probably specially defensive. Either way, though, I'm modest Life Orbed on my Whimsicott, so a Moonblast will definitely be strong enough to knock him out. And in hindsight, I probably should have double switched this turn into my Dugtrio, but I believe I do just end up staying in and going for the Moonblast, which was a really dumb play on my part, just because the switch out was very obvious. So I could have got a free switch into my Dugtrio this turn and then not have to switch into it as I'm going to do this turn, because I thought that he would actually go for the Stealth Rocks or maybe a layer of Spikes, which is really dumb just because I do have Crobat, which has Defog. Thankfully, though, because of that Scarf that I tricked him and the boost in speed that he got, I'm going to be able to live the Gyro Ball and in return finish him off with Reversal. This Dugtrio was misstabbed, which is why I have Life Orb and Reversal. I know normally Dugtrio don't carry Life Orb and Reversal together, but in this situation it did really come in handy, as I'm able to get rid of one potential nuisance. I bring in my Jirachi as he brings in his own Jirachi. I'm hoping that I don't get paralyzed so I can get a free switch into my Haxorus on this thing, seeing as he locked himself into Fire Punch. Unfortunately, that is not the case, as he's going to be able to easily kill me with the Fire Punch. But as I mentioned, in the long run, the fact that I did get paralyzed is not game changing in the slightest, as I can now get a switch into my Haxorus. I am choice banded, although I am a gel in nature, and if he really wanted to, he could stay in and go for Fire Punch and try to get the burn, but he's not going to risk that as he brings in the Sableye. I honestly thought Sableye was going to live this Earthquake, but as I mentioned earlier, I did have in the back of my mind that he may be especially defensive, because I know I'm choice banded, but this is not stabbed, and Sableye does have a pretty decent defensive stat as he brings in the Jirachi. I'm hoping and praying he doesn't freeze me, but I see he goes for Ice Punch. I live, and I can knock him out with... If I had gone for Earthquake, I would have knocked out this Jirachi. His last two Pokemon are the Goodra and the Raikou, which all I need is a switch into my Whimsicott. I set up the Tailwind, I lock myself into Outrage with Haxorus, and I win the match. He literally had a 10% chance to win the game at that point, and he got it. And yeah, that is gonna be the match. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit upset, but in the end, it's Wi-Fi. I always like doing Wi-Fi battles, and I hope you guys did enjoy this. I know my narration was a little bit rusty, but I promise you guys I will get them back to how they used to be last year, and I will kind of go with the flow a little bit better. But of course, if you guys did enjoy, then make sure to hit the like button, guys. Also, feel free to check out my 2 previous uploads if you have not seen them yet. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow. So, later, everybody.